You feel it, don't you? The constant noise. A storm of notifications, headlines, and demands, each one pulling at your attention. It feels like the world is shouting and has been for a very long time. This isn't just about being busy. It's a deeper kind of exhaustion. It's the feeling of being stretched thin, of your own inner quiet being drowned out by the relentless static of modern life. We are told that peace is a destination, a quiet cabin in the woods, a week-long vacation, or that one day when everything on our to-do list is finally checked off. We chase these fleeting moments of calm, believing that if we can just arrange the outside world perfectly, we will finally feel peaceful on the inside. But the lists never end. The noise always returns, and we are left feeling like we have failed, wondering why our brief escapes never lead to lasting tranquility. Think of your mind as a small, shallow puddle of water. It is so small that a single falling leaf, a single unexpected comment can disturb the entire surface. A slight breeze, a passing worry about the future, is enough to send ripples from edge to edge. A single heavy raindrop, a piece of bad news, a sudden change of plans can splash muddy water everywhere, clouding your vision and staining your entire day. This is the mind that is helplessly reactive to the world around it. In this state, every event feels like a crisis. The phone rings and your heart jumps. A critical email arrives and your focus for the next hour is shattered. You are living at the mercy of the weather, tossed about by winds and rains that you have absolutely no control over. It's an exhausting way to live, constantly bracing for the next disturbance, the next thing that will inevitably stir up the mud. You crave stillness, a genuine, unshakable peace that doesn't depend on everything going your way. A quiet that is not a fragile absence of noise, but a powerful presence within you. You have a deep intuition that such a state must be possible, that human beings are not meant to live in a constant state of internal alarm. You have seen glimpses of it in moments of awe or deep connection, a sudden quiet that felt more real than all the noise. The question that arises from this exhaustion is not a trivial one. It is perhaps one of the most important questions a person can ask. It's the question that echoes through centuries of human searching, whispered in moments of quiet desperation. How do you find peace in a world that seems engineered for chaos? How do you build a sanctuary inside yourself when there seems to be no safe ground anywhere outside? Is it truly possible to be calm and steady while the storm rages all around you? This feeling isn't a personal failure. It is a symptom of the modern condition. We are swimming in more information, more stimulation, and more demands than any humans in history. Our brains were not designed for this constant, low-level state of emergency. We feel agitated and overwhelmed because we are agitated and overwhelmed. The first step is to recognize this. You are not weak for feeling this way. You are a human being responding to an inhuman amount of pressure. The puddle of the mind, when it's constantly disturbed, becomes muddy and opaque. You can't see the bottom. You can't even see the sky reflected clearly on its surface. When your mind is in this state, you lose clarity. You can't tell the difference between a real threat and a minor annoyance. Every problem feels huge, and your own thoughts become a source of pain. You mistake the muddy water for who you are, believing that you are your anxiety, you are your stress. You forget the clear water that lies beneath. This is the starting point of our journey, not a place of blame, but of honest recognition. To acknowledge the noise, the overwhelm, and the small, reactive puddle of the mind. To feel the exhaustion of constantly being at the mercy of the outside world. To admit that the way we've been trying to find peace isn't working. It is only from this place of raw honesty that a different path can begin to reveal itself. A path that doesn't lead away from the world, but deeper into ourselves. So we begin with this universal feeling. The feeling of being a small boat on a vast, unpredictable sea, yearning for a safe harbor. We have felt the tossing of the waves and the sting of the cold spray. We have looked for land in every direction and found none. Now, we must ask a new question. What if the harbor is not a place we need to find? What if it is something we need to build right here in the middle of the ocean? Faced with this chaos, our first instinct is a logical one: control. We think, if the rain is disturbing my puddle, I must stop the rain. This is the common trap, the flawed solution that almost everyone tries first. We attempt to build a perfect, peaceful life by controlling our environment. We curate our social media feeds. We avoid difficult conversations. We try to plan every detail of our day to prevent any unexpected disturbances. This strategy of control extends to our inner world. We try to silence unwanted thoughts. We scold ourselves for feeling anxious or sad. We believe that if we can just force our minds to be quiet, we will have peace. This is like trying to flatten the ripples in the puddle with your hand. The more you slap at the water, the more chaotic and turbulent it becomes. You are not creating stillness. You are just adding a new layer of violent effort to the existing disturbance. The roof we build over our puddle is a structure of avoidance. We avoid the news because it's upsetting. We avoid that family member because they are draining. We avoid applying for the new job because we fear rejection. Each act of avoidance is another flimsy patch on our roof, but a life built on avoidance is small and fragile. The roof requires constant maintenance. It is exhausting to hold up, and worse, it keeps out the sun as well as the rain. We are safe, but we are also trapped in the dark. And inevitably, the storm comes. Not just a light shower, but a real downpour. A job loss, a health crisis, a global event that shakes everyone. These are the storms that our flimsy roofs were never designed to handle. The rain pours through the cracks, the wind tears the structure apart, and in an instant, our carefully constructed shelter is gone. We are left more exposed than ever, sitting in a muddy, overflowing puddle, wondering why our desperate efforts failed so completely. This failure leads to a profound sense of disillusionment. We think, I did everything right. I tried so hard to keep the chaos out and it broke in anyway. Peace must be impossible. This is a dangerous conclusion. It's the belief that our only two options are either a life of frantic, failing control, or a life of passive, helpless surrender to the storm. We don't yet see that there is a third path, one that doesn't involve fighting the rain at all. We just see the wreckage of our failed strategy. Look at the energy we spend. The constant vigilance, the planning, the worrying. The effort of holding up our psychological defenses against the world is immense. It is a full-time job with no holidays. All this energy is spent on the impossible task of managing the external. Imagine what could be done if that same energy were redirected. Imagine if the effort used to build a weak roof was instead used for a completely different kind of project. The great trap is the belief that peace is a state of no problems. A life without any conflict, any sadness, any uncertainty. But this is not peace. It is a fantasy. It is a life that has never existed and will never exist. To chase this fantasy is to be forever disappointed. The wisest among us did not seek a life without storms. They sought to become so resilient, so deep, that they could weather any storm with their inner tranquility intact. They understood the problem was never the rain. So we are stuck. We have tried to control the world and failed. We have tried to build walls and found they were made of paper. We have tried to suppress our own minds and found that only creates more inner turmoil. The old way is a dead end. We are tired, we are muddy, and we are ready to give up. This moment of surrender is not an end. It is a necessary beginning. It is the point at which we are finally open to hearing a different kind of wisdom. The fundamental flaw in this approach is that it is based on fear. Fear of discomfort, fear of uncertainty, fear of pain. We build our roof not out of a love for peace, but out of a fear of chaos. But any action rooted in fear will ultimately create more suffering. It tightens our muscles, narrows our vision, and closes our hearts. Peace can never grow in the soil of fear. A new approach must be rooted in something else entirely, in curiosity, in openness, and in a radical form of courage. We have to abandon the idea of a perfect life. That carefully curated image we see online, that flawless narrative we tell ourselves we should have, it's a ghost. It haunts us and makes us feel inadequate. True peace begins when we let go of that ghost and turn to face the messy, unpredictable, and beautiful reality of our actual lives. We must learn to find our footing on uneven ground, not wait for the ground to become perfectly smooth. Think about how much of your mental space is occupied by resistance. Resisting what is happening, resisting what someone said, resisting a feeling in your own body. This resistance is a constant, low-level hum of tension that drains your life force. It is the exhausting effort of trying to hold back the ocean with a broom. What would happen if, just for a moment, you dropped the broom? What if you stopped fighting what is already here? This is not giving up. It is the first move in a much smarter game. The trap is subtle because it feels so productive. We are managing our lives, solving our problems, staying on top of things. But this hypermanagement is the very source of our anxiety. It is the belief that if we just think hard enough, plan perfectly enough, and worry strategically enough, we can outsmart reality. The great liberation is realizing that reality does not need to be outsmarted. It needs to be met with awareness, with breath, and with a quiet mind. We believe that peace is earned through victory over chaos, but this sets us up for a permanent war. The world will always produce more chaos. There will always be another battle to fight, another fire to put out. As long as our peace depends on winning, we will never be at rest. We must find a peace that is not conditional on victory, a peace that can coexist with the battle, a quiet center in the eye of the hurricane. This old path is a path of if only. If only I had more money, I'd be calm. If only my partner were different, I'd be happy. If only the world were less crazy, I'd have peace. It places the key to our well-being permanently in the hands of something outside of ourselves. It makes us a beggar for peace, always asking the world for permission to feel okay. The turning point comes when you realize the key was never out there. It has been in your own pocket the entire time. Let's stand here for a moment in the ruins of our failed strategy. The roof is gone. The mud is everywhere. The effort of control has led only to exhaustion. We have reached the bottom, and it is here in this place of utter failure that we are finally ready for a revolution. Not a revolution against the world, but a revolution in perspective. A quiet insight that will change the very nature of the game we are playing. Over 2,500 years ago, a man sat under a tree and grappled with this very same problem. Not the chaos of smartphones and emails, but the fundamental chaos of human existence, sickness, loss, and uncertainty. His name was Siddhartha Gautama, the man who would become known as the Buddha. He saw the same trap we fall into, the desperate attempt to control the uncontrollable. And after a long search, he discovered a truth that is both profound and breathtakingly simple. He realized that our suffering comes not from the chaos of the world, but from our resistance to it. The problem was not the rain. It was our desperate wish that it wouldn't rain while we were standing in an open field. His profound insight was this: you cannot control the weather. So, instead of building a flimsy roof to block the rain, you must learn to become the ocean. You must grow so vast and so deep that any storm is just a surface event, unable to disturb the calm of your depths. This is the great pivot, the revolutionary turn from external control to internal cultivation. You stop fighting the world. You stop trying to manage the storm. You turn all of that wasted energy inward. You stop building a roof and you start digging. You begin the patient, powerful work of deepening the puddle. Your goal is no longer to have a rain-free life. Your goal is to have a mind so deep that no rain, no matter how heavy, can ever make it muddy again. The central thesis is this: peace is not found by silencing the world. It is found by cultivating a mind so spacious and still that it can hold the chaos of the world without being disturbed by it. The goal is not an empty mind, but a mind that is an open sky, allowing the storm clouds of thought and emotion to pass through without resistance. You are not the clouds. You are the sky. This changes everything. This idea can feel abstract at first. Become the ocean. What does that even mean? It means shifting your identity. Right now, you identify with the ripples. When an anxious thought appears, you say, "I am anxious." When an angry feeling arises, you say, "I am angry." You mistake the passing weather for the totality of who you are. The practice is to stop identifying with the waves on the surface and to start identifying with the vast, still water that allows the waves to happen. Imagine your mind is a grand, empty room. Thoughts and feelings are like visitors. Some are pleasant, some are rude. The untrained mind chases after the pleasant visitors, begging them to stay, and tries to fight the rude ones, pushing them out the door. This is exhausting. The trained mind, the spacious mind, simply sits in the middle of the room and lets the visitors come and go as they please. It offers them all a cup of tea. It knows they are just passing through. The first act of digging is not effort but observation. You simply start to watch. You watch the impulse to check your phone. You watch the flicker of irritation when someone cuts you off in traffic. You watch the wave of sadness that comes for no reason. You don't judge it, you don't try to fix it. You just notice it with a gentle, friendly curiosity. Ah, there is anxiety. How interesting. This simple act of noticing creates a tiny bit of space between you and the feeling. This is the opposite of the war we were fighting before. The war was based on the idea that some feelings are bad and must be destroyed. This new path is based on radical acceptance. It is the understanding that all feelings are just energy, just weather patterns passing through the vast space of your awareness. To fight a feeling is to give it strength. To shine the light of gentle awareness on it is to allow it to dissolve on its own. So you begin to dig, not with frantic effort but with patient attention. Each time you choose to observe your reaction instead of being carried away by it, you are deepening the water. Each time you let a thought go without chasing it down a rabbit hole, you are deepening the water. It is not a dramatic, one-time event. It is a quiet, steady process. A commitment to a new way of being with your own mind, moment by moment by moment. This is true self-care. It is not about bubble baths or buying things. It is about the courageous and compassionate work of tending to your own inner world. It is about taking responsibility for the quality of your own mind, regardless of what the world is doing. This is the ultimate act of empowerment. It is the realization that your inner peace is not a gift the world gives you. It is a skill you cultivate within yourself. The beauty of this path is that you don't need to go anywhere. You don't need to retreat from the world. Your laboratory is your life exactly as it is. The noisy office, the stressful commute, the difficult family dinner, these are not obstacles to your practice. They are your practice. They are the gym where you strengthen your muscle of awareness. Every moment of chaos is an opportunity to remember the sky, to feel the depths, to deepen the water. As the puddle begins to deepen, even just a little, something remarkable happens. The water becomes clearer. When a storm comes, the surface may still get disturbed, but the mud at the bottom is no longer churned up. You can experience anger, but you don't have to act it out in a destructive way. You can feel anxiety, but it no longer paralyzes you. You have created enough depth, enough space to contain the emotion without being consumed by it. This is the beginning of freedom. The freedom to feel what you feel without being a slave to it. The freedom to be in a chaotic world without having a chaotic mind. It is a quiet, stable power that comes not from being invulnerable, but from being spacious. You are no longer a fragile puddle, but a growing pond, capable of holding more of life's experiences with grace and clarity. This shift is available to you right now in this very moment. As you listen to these words, you can notice the feeling of your body sitting. You can notice the gentle rhythm of your breath. You can notice the sounds in the room around you, without judging them, just letting them be. In this simple act of noticing, you are tasting the freedom. You are touching the stillness. You are taking the first step on the path from the puddle to the ocean. The journey inward has begun. The frantic construction project has been abandoned. The shovel of awareness is in your hand. The goal is no longer to survive the storm, but to use the storm as the very means of your transformation. The path ahead is not about learning new information, but about cultivating a new way of paying attention. It is the path of illumination. So how do we deepen the water? The first stage is transforming the puddle into a pond. This is the practice of observing the ripples. This is what is commonly known as mindfulness. It means paying attention on purpose in the present moment without judgment. When a thought or feeling arises, you simply note its presence. Ah, thinking. Ah, sadness. You give it a soft, mental label, not to analyze it, but simply to acknowledge its existence as a temporary event in the mind. By labeling the ripple, you are implicitly reminding yourself of a crucial truth. You are not the ripple, you are the water. You are the awareness that is noticing the thought. This creates a powerful separation. Without this practice, the thought "I'm going to fail" is a fact. With this practice, it becomes, I am aware of a thought that says I am going to fail. Can you feel the difference? The second one has space around it. It has air. It is not an absolute truth, but just a passing cloud. This practice requires gentleness. The mind will wander 1,000 times. That is what minds do. The practice is not to have a perfectly still mind. The practice is to notice with kindness that the mind has wandered and to gently guide it back. Every time you guide it back, you are doing one more repetition at the mental gym. You are strengthening the muscle of attention. The goal is not to stop the ripples, but to become intimately familiar with their nature. As the pond grows, you start to see patterns. Oh, every time I'm tired, these specific worries appear. When I talk to that person, I always feel this tightening in my chest. You become a scientist of your own inner world, observing cause and effect without judgment. This is not about blaming yourself or others. It is about understanding the weather patterns of your own mind, so you are no longer surprised or ambushed by them when they arrive. With this growing clarity, your relationship with your emotions changes. You no longer need to fear them. You can learn to sit with discomfort, knowing it will pass. You can allow yourself to feel joy fully without clinging to it. The pond is deep enough now that it can hold both the sunlight and the shadows. You are developing emotional resilience, the capacity to be with the full spectrum of human experience without being thrown off balance. The next stage is for the pond to become a lake. This is where we learn to understand the weather. A lake is large enough to have real storms, real waves. This stage is about acceptance, not resignation, but a wise and powerful acceptance of the things we cannot change. We accept that there will be loss. We accept that there will be pain. We accept that we cannot control other people. We stop arguing with reality. Arguing with reality is the source of so much of our stress. This shouldn't be happening. He shouldn't have said that. The traffic shouldn't be this bad. Every time we say shouldn't about something that has already happened, we are creating useless friction and pain for ourselves. Acceptance is simply saying, this is what is here right now. It is the firm, unsentimental, and profoundly peaceful act of aligning yourself with the present moment, whatever it holds. This acceptance frees up an enormous amount of energy. The energy we were using to resist reality can now be used for wise action. Acceptance is not passive. It doesn't mean you don't act to change things. It means you first accept the reality of the situation, then you act from a place of clarity and calm, rather than from a place of frantic resistance. You can't navigate a storm effectively if you're screaming at the wind. First, you accept the wind is blowing. Then you adjust your sails. As the lake of your mind grows wider, you begin to feel a sense of stability that you have never felt before. You are less and less bothered by the small, everyday annoyances. They are just small waves on a very large lake. Your sense of self is no longer tied to your fleeting moods or circumstances. You are grounded in something deeper, something more permanent. You feel a quiet confidence that you can handle whatever life brings your way. You start to develop compassion, first for yourself. You see your own patterns of fear and anger not as flaws, but as learned survival strategies that no longer serve you. You stop scolding yourself and start treating yourself with the same kindness you would offer a good friend. This self-compassion is the warm water that allows everything frozen inside you to begin to thaw. It is essential for the journey into the depths. This compassion naturally extends to others. When you see your own inner working so clearly, you begin to understand the struggles of others. You see that their anger, their fear, their difficult behaviors are also coming from a place of suffering. You stop taking things so personally. You realize everyone is just trying to find their way, often clumsily. Your heart opens. The lake of your mind is now wide enough to hold the reality of their pain as well as your own. The final stage of the journey is when the lake becomes an ocean. This is the discovery of the depths. An ocean has a surface that can be incredibly violent. It can have hurricanes, tidal waves, and terrifying storms. And yet, if you dive down just a few hundred feet, it is utterly silent. It is perfectly still. It is a place of profound, untouchable peace. This is a metaphor for the deepest layer of your own consciousness. This depth is your true nature. It is the silent, aware presence that has been with you your entire life, witnessing every thought, every feeling, every experience. It is the part of you that is unchanging, timeless, and already whole. It is pure consciousness itself. The thoughts, the emotions, the chaos of the world, they are all just weather on the surface. They can be terrifying, but they cannot and will not ever touch the stillness of your depths. To access this depth, we practice letting go. Not just letting go of thoughts, but letting go of our very attachment to a self that is a bundle of thoughts, memories, and beliefs. We rest in the simple feeling of being. We drop below the story of me and into the silent aliveness that is always present. This can feel scary at first, like a loss of control, but it is actually the ultimate release into a peace that is beyond understanding. This is the peace the Buddha spoke of, not a happy feeling which is temporary, but a profound state of equanimity. It is a deep, unshakable balance of mind that comes from realizing your true nature is the ocean, not the waves. When you know yourself as the ocean, you are no longer afraid of the waves. You can even find a certain beauty in their wild, temporary dance, knowing they are just an expression of your own vastness. From this place of deep inner peace, you can engage with the world more effectively and compassionately than ever before. You are no longer acting from a place of fear or reactivity. You are acting from a place of deep wisdom and love. Your actions become a natural overflow of your inner state. You don't have to try to be compassionate, you simply are. You don't have to try to be calm, you are the source of calm. The journey from puddle to pond to lake to ocean is the journey of a lifetime. It is not linear. Some days you will feel like a vast ocean, and other days you will feel like a muddy puddle again. That is okay. The key is to remember the path, to know that the way to peace is not by building a roof, but by patiently, kindly, continuing to dig, to continue the practice of deepening your own awareness. The practice is to observe the ripples of thought, to accept the weather of life, to remember the silent depths within you. This is not a religion. It is a form of mental training, a practical and profound technology for navigating the challenges of being human. It is your birthright. The ocean of peace is not something you have to create. You simply have to discover that it has been here, within you, all along. This isn't about becoming passive or detached from life. In fact, it's the opposite. When you're not constantly drained by inner turmoil and resistance, you have so much more energy to engage with the world, to love, to create, and to help. You become more present, more alive. The stillness of the depths doesn't remove you from the world. It allows you to participate in it fully, with an open heart and a clear mind. You start to notice the small beauties you were too distracted to see before. The taste of your morning coffee, the feeling of the sun on your skin, the sound of a bird outside your window. By cultivating inner stillness, the outer world becomes more vibrant, more rich. You were so busy fighting the storm that you didn't notice the rainbows that appeared in its wake. Now, your senses are open, and the ordinary world reveals its extraordinary magic. As your mind becomes a vast lake, you also notice there's space for paradox. You can feel sad about a loss and also grateful for the love you shared. You can be determined to reach a goal, but also be at peace if you fail. The mind is no longer a simple on-off switch of happy or sad. It becomes capable of holding the complex, contradictory, and beautiful truths of human experience with a spacious and wise embrace. Life is no longer a problem to be solved. Let's return to our metaphor. A lake reflects the sky perfectly. When your mind is as still as a lake, it becomes a mirror for reality. It doesn't add a story of this is good or this is bad. It simply reflects what is with perfect clarity. From this clarity, you can make much wiser choices. You're no longer reacting to your own muddy interpretations of events, but to the events themselves. This is the foundation of wisdom. The process of deepening your awareness isn't always comfortable. When you first start to sit in silence, you might be shocked by how loud your mind actually is. This is a good sign. It doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It means you're finally starting to listen. You are seeing the baseline level of static you were living with all the time. The first step to cleaning a messy room is to turn on the lights and see how messy it really is. Remember that the goal isn't to stop the thoughts. That's a myth. The goal is to change your relationship to them. Think of your thoughts as traffic on a busy street. Before, you were standing in the middle of the road, getting hit by every car. Now you are sitting peacefully on a park bench on the sidewalk, simply watching the cars go by. They might be loud, they might be fast, but they are over there and you are over here. This deep inner stillness is the ultimate source of security. We often seek security in money, relationships, or status, but all of these things are external and can be lost. They are waves on the surface. The only security that can never be taken from you is the discovery of your own deep inner nature. When you anchor yourself in the ocean of awareness, you can weather the loss of any particular wave, no matter how beautiful. This state of being has a ripple effect. When you are at peace, you bring that peace into every interaction. Your calmness can calm others. Your clarity can help others see more clearly. You become a walking, talking sanctuary in a frantic world. You don't need to preach or teach. Your presence itself becomes a teaching. You become a living example of the possibility of finding peace amidst chaos. The final letting go, the leap into the ocean, is an act of trust. It's the trust that if you let go of your constant mental gripping and controlling, you won't fall into an abyss. You will fall into the arms of a much deeper intelligence, into the vast stillness that is your true home. It's the trust that you are fundamentally okay, that you are already whole, and that peace is not something you build, but something you allow. The breath is your most powerful and portable tool on this journey. It is always with you. Whenever you feel overwhelmed, you can return to the simple, physical sensation of your breath, the in-breath and the out-breath. This is your anchor in the present moment. It is the rope that leads from the stormy surface down into the quiet depths of the ocean. Following your breath is the simplest and most profound meditation there is. What happens to fear in this vast oceanic mind? It doesn't necessarily disappear. A storm is still a storm, but it is held in such a vast container that it loses its power to dominate. The fear is a small, dark fish swimming in an infinite ocean. You see it, you acknowledge it, but it no longer defines your reality. The ocean is not afraid of the fish. Your awareness is not afraid of your fear. And what of joy? In the oceanic mind, joy is not something to be desperately clung to. It is seen as another beautiful wave on the surface. You can surf it, delight in it, and appreciate its beauty without the underlying fear of it ending. This allows you to experience joy more fully and freely. When you are not afraid of the trough, you can ride the crest of the wave with complete abandon. This entire process is one of subtraction, not addition. You are not adding peace to yourself. You are removing the layers of tension, resistance, and false identity that were obscuring the peace that was already there. It's like a sculptor carving a block of marble. The sculptor does not create the statue. They simply chip away everything that is not the statue. You are chipping away everything that is not your true, peaceful nature. Eventually, the distinction between practice and life begins to dissolve. Your meditation is not just something you do for 20 minutes on a cushion. Your meditation becomes how you listen to your partner, how you drive in traffic, how you respond to a challenge at work. Every moment becomes an opportunity to be present, to be aware, to be anchored in the depths. Life itself becomes the meditation. This wisdom is not exotic or foreign. It is the heritage of all humanity. These truths have been discovered and rediscovered by wise people in all traditions across the globe. They speak a universal language, the language of stillness, the language of presence, the language of a peace that the world cannot give and cannot take away. It is a path that is open to anyone who is willing to walk it. So you continue. You observe the ripples. You accept the weather. You remember the depths. You do not seek a magical transformation overnight. You commit to the slow, steady, and deeply rewarding process of becoming who you already are. You are the ocean, learning to remember its own vastness. And with every moment of awareness, you come home. This is the illumination, the realization that the sanctuary was never a place outside, but a space inside. A space of infinite depth, silence, and peace. A space that is your truest self. Once you have tasted this, even for a moment, you can never fully forget. It becomes a homing signal, a guiding star in the darkest of nights, constantly calling you back to the profound and unshakable peace of your own being. And then comes the moment of synthesis, a moment of profound clarity when all the pieces click into place. Imagine the ultimate storm, not just a sprinkle, not just a shower, but a hurricane of chaos. Personal crisis, global turmoil, waves of fear and uncertainty crashing with terrifying force. This is the ultimate test. The surface of your mind is a raging, violent sea, a spectacle of absolute mayhem. This is the world as it often feels. In the old way, you would have been destroyed by this. You would have been the tiny paper boat torn to shreds in the first minute. You would have been the shallow puddle instantly turned into a muddy chaos. But something has changed. You have changed. You have done the work. You have deepened the water. You have remembered your true nature. You are no longer identified with the storm on the surface. So now we dive. We leave the screaming wind and the crashing waves behind. We move down through the turbulence. And as we descend, the noise begins to fade. The violent motion begins to slow. The water becomes darker, calmer. The pressure of the world above disappears, replaced by a profound and enveloping silence. We are dropping below the chaos into a different world entirely, a world that was here all along. And here in the vast, silent, peaceful depths of the inner ocean, everything is okay. There is no storm here. There is no fear here. There is only a vast, serene, and eternal stillness. Here, strange and beautiful creatures of light, your core virtues, your innate wisdom, your unconditional love, drift peacefully in the dark. They are untouched by the storm on the surface. They are your true essence. This is the aha moment, the experiential understanding that you are both. You are the ocean that contains the wild surface and the silent depths. Your humanity can experience the storm, your divinity rests in the stillness. They are not in conflict. They are two expressions of one reality. The chaos of the world can rage, but it cannot touch the depths of who you are. Peace is not the absence of the storm. Peace is the depth that the storm cannot reach. You finally understand. The goal was never to calm the storm. The goal was to become so deeply acquainted with your own depths that you could let the storm be the storm without losing your peace. You are the container for it all. The anger, the joy, the fear, the love, the chaos, the calm. You are the vast, silent, loving awareness in which the entire human drama unfolds. This realization is the end of the inner war. The search is over. You stop looking for peace outside yourself. You stop waiting for the world to change. You realize that the peace you were seeking is the very nature of your own being. It is the silence that underlies every sound. It is the stillness that underlies every movement. It is the vast, open space of awareness that you are and have always been. You were a king who had been wandering the world dressed as a beggar, and you have finally come home. From this place, action in the world becomes different. It is no longer driven by a needy desire to fix things to make yourself feel better. It is driven by a genuine response to the needs of the moment, flowing from a place of fullness, not lack. You act not to get peace, but to share the peace that you already are. Your life becomes an offering, a gift to the world, born from the overflow of your own silent heart. Let this understanding sink deep into you. The world will always be the world. It will be beautiful and brutal, joyous and heartbreaking. There will be storms, but your peace is not dependent on the weather. Your peace is the ocean. Your peace is the depth. Your peace is the silent, untouchable home within you that you can return to at any moment with a single conscious breath. This is the mastery, not the mastery of the world, but the mastery of the self. It is the profound and simple power of knowing where to place your attention. Do you place it on the frantic, changing waves on the surface? Or do you rest it in the eternal, unchanging stillness of the deep? The choice is yours in every moment. And in that choice lies the difference between a life of constant struggle and a life of profound peace. So we bring this vast, oceanic metaphor back to the shore of your own life, back to your kitchen, your car, your office. How does this become real for you right now? It becomes real not by memorizing a philosophy, but by living a question, by carrying a new kind of inquiry with you into the moments of your day. This is how wisdom moves from an idea in your head to a living reality in your heart. You don't need a complicated to-do list. You don't need to add more pressure to your life. All you need is one transformative question to carry with you. A question that can act as your guide, your anchor, your reminder of this deeper truth. It is a question that gently shifts your perspective from reactivity to awareness, from the surface to the depths, in the middle of your actual messy, beautiful life. Here is the question. The next time chaos arrives, a stressful email, a sudden fear, an angry comment from someone, a wave of overwhelm, and you feel that familiar tightening, that internal alarm bell, ask yourself this: what is happening on the surface right now? And what is still and quiet in the depths? Just asking the question is the practice. This question is a portal. It invites you to drop your attention beneath the level of the story, beneath the drama of the wave. It pulls you back into the body, back to the breath, back to the silent, observing presence that is your true self. You don't even need to have an answer. The question itself creates the space. It reminds you that you are the ocean, and this is just a wave. Will you fight the rain, or will you let it deepen you? Will you curse the wave, or will you remember the ocean? This is the new choice you have in every moment. To engage in the old, exhausting war of resistance, or to practice the new, peaceful art of spacious awareness. The more you ask the question, the more you choose the path of the ocean, the more this state of deep peace becomes your natural, default way of being. This is how you integrate this wisdom, not by thinking about it more, but by applying it in the small, challenging moments of your day. Let your life be your monastery. Let your challenges be your teachers. Let your own mind be the puddle you patiently transform into an ocean. You have the tools. You have the understanding. Now all that is needed is the gentle, consistent practice of remembering. Be patient with yourself. You have spent a lifetime identifying with the waves. It will take time to consistently remember that you are the ocean. There is no rush. There is no final exam. There is only the gentle, moment-to-moment process of coming home to yourself. Celebrate the small victories, the one time you noticed your anger without acting on it, the one moment you chose to breathe instead of worry. These are the victories that matter. Your inner world does not have to be a reflection of the outer world's chaos. It can be a sanctuary, a refuge, a source of strength and wisdom that allows you to meet the chaos with grace. This is not selfish. It is the most generous gift you can give to the world. A peaceful person brings peace to others. A clear mind brings clarity to confusing situations. By healing yourself, you become a source of healing for everyone you meet. So carry this question with you as you leave this video and return to your life. Let it be a quiet companion. What is happening on the surface? And what is still in the depths? Let it be the gentle bell of awareness that calls you back from the frantic noise of the world to the profound silence of your own heart. This is how you master peace in a world of chaos. The power to change your entire experience of life does not lie in changing your circumstances. It lies in changing the place from which you meet them. Will you meet life from the turbulent, reactive surface, or from the calm, responsive depths? The choice is always yours. Your peace is not a distant shore. It is the very ground on which you stand. The storm has passed. The ocean is now a vast, placid mirror reflecting the infinite stars of the night sky. The surface and the depths are finally one, united in a great, silent peace. This stillness is not empty, it is full. It is full of potential, full of wisdom, full of a quiet joy that needs no reason. This is your true nature, waiting patiently for your return. The world will continue to make its noise. The storms will gather again. This is the nature of life, but it no longer needs to be a threat. It can now be a reminder to take a breath, to drop into your body, and to feel the unshakable ground of being that is always beneath your feet. The chaos of the world can become the very bell that awakens you to the peace within. The deeper you go, the quieter it gets. This is the simple, profound truth of your own mind. The peace you seek is not in a different place or a different time. It is in a different dimension of your own being, the dimension of depth. It is always accessible, always available, always waiting. Your only task is to remember to look. You are the ocean, vast, deep, and eternal. You are the stillness that holds the storm. You are the silence that holds the noise. Never forget the magnificent, peaceful depths of who you truly are. Explore this stillness and see what you discover.